Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of you who are here participating in this higher education engagement and transformation community of practice. This is our first webinar of 2023. So we're absolutely delighted to be here and to have you here. My name is Yolande Miller-Granvaux, and I am here with my wonderful co-champion, Okorfa. Okorfa just joined us this year in January, and she's a wonderful new co-champion representing youth from all over the world, right, Okorfa? This is just wonderful to have her. Okorfa is a creative writer. She works for British Council. She spends a lot of her life trying to inspire other youth. She will introduce herself, but she has just a multifaceted personality that I'm learning from all the time. So I'm just delighted to introduce Okorfa to you. Okay, so this is our agenda for today. We're going to welcome Okorfa again. I'm going to briefly go through the goal that we have for our community of practice in 2023 and review a little bit what we did. And then we'll focus on the discussion on the use of career services or mentorship programs or internship programs or scholarship programs that have enabled wonderful youth to achieve their dreams. And then we'll go on to questions and discussions, and then we'll go to our next steps. So this is our agenda. Just a reminder, because some of you are probably new to this, but some of you may not be. The community of practice called Higher Education Engagement Transformation is a community of practice that was created a couple of years ago. And the idea here is to really advance higher education and youth learning priorities. We want to be able to create synergies between higher education institutions and the youth that they serve, and make sure that the students, the potential students, the alumni really can talk about their experience, but also reflect on what could have been done better, more efficiently to help them succeed in their life. So that's what this community of practice is about. Next. In 2022, we focused, based on the polls and surveys and demands from the community of practice on climate change, how we could engage youth and higher education in the climate change discourse. So we did a lot of work on greening higher education, looking at what universities were doing to promote climate change, looking at what youth activism is taking place. And we looked at it from very different perspectives, both geographically and thematically. So this gave us a foundation for really making the synergies between higher education and youth more real with one topic. This is not a topic that we are abandoning by far. This year in 2023, we are going to focus on higher education services again. And we will also focus on climate change. We will have, next slide, please. We will focus on themes that are also related to climate change. For instance, next month, we will be looking at climate change related employment in Mozambique and in the US. Then we'll be looking at, that'll be in May, we'll be looking at what Egypt is doing. Higher education institution in Egypt are looking at blue and green jobs and how they're helping youth get into these jobs. We'll be looking at exploring job opportunities for women. So these are going to be our potential, not even potential now, it's pretty much confirmed webinar topics for 2023. We will also have coffee chats so that we can engage with all of you and enable you to network. We'll do a spotlight on members, and we already have three wonderful youth are joining us today, and we'll do a spotlight on them, which will be shared as broadly as we can, so we can really, just shed light on you, on all of you. So we'll have blogs that'll feature you and will be shared. We will have a coffee chat that CORFA will lead on peer mentoring because it's something that you also asked for. Next. So now we're gonna go on to our speakers, and I will let CORFA introduce them. And CORFA will also share her story. I'm just delighted to have CORFA as a co-champion. CORFA, the floor is yours.
Thank you for that very heartwarming introduction, Yolande. So as she mentioned, my name is Akofa Dawson from Ghana, and I'm passionate about everything that creates opportunities for young people. And that's how come I'm here today in this higher education, engagement and transformation community of practice, because I also believe education is one of the opportunities that presents itself to young people. And we have three amazing speakers who would be sharing their stories with us, but briefly how I ended up here. So I also had my higher education in Ghana, and I had a specific career path, but with the advice and the support from other people, and also discovering what my interests were, I have now decided to pursue a career path in project management in endeavors that empower and transform young people. So our first speaker joining us is Faith, who is going to tell us about how her career center helped her make a critical decision in choosing a career path between reading computer science and computer engineering. And we also have Jacob, who was mentored and got the right information from his career center to learn the fundamentals of being effective and productive in the workplace. And we have Sashawaney, and she will tell us about how an unconventional opportunity and a scholarship to access higher education helped her get a diploma and a job. So I'm handing over our virtual mics to them so they also introduce themselves briefly, and then we have a conversation. So over to you, Faith.
Hello, my name is Faith Rovina. I'm a second-year student at Osae University, currently majoring in computer science. I am originally from Kenya, but I'm pursuing my my degree course in Ghana.
Right, nice to meet you, Faith. Sashawaney.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sashawaney Clarke. I attended the College of Agriculture, Science and Education. I am now an administrative assistant at MLR Tech. I graduated with an associate degree in agroprocessing and business management.
Okay, thank you for that, Sashawaney. Now, Jacob.
Hello, good afternoon to everyone. My name is Jacob, and I am a physics instructor. I'm an author, I'm a STEM enthusiast, and I'm so excited to join you today for this particular webinar. Thank you.
All right, thank you, lovely speaker. So now delving right into our conversation. Faith, so you used a career center at Osae University to pursue your goal. What did you do and why?
Okay, so first of all, first year I was on kind of because I was not really sure of the path that I wanted to take. So right from when I joined the university, so I tried to talk to the career center so they could help me in deciding what to take. So I was confused between computer science and computer engineering, and I was not really sure about like what I was actually interested in between the two courses. So they took me through guidance and they gave me an opportunity to interact with people who have pursued the two courses so that I could get to see if it was something that I was actually interested in. The other thing that I did is that I was also given time to think through my abilities as a person, my passion, my aspirations, and that really helped me in making a decision.
Right. That's good to know. One thing that struck me is they allowed you to interact with people who are taking the course. And I believe this is some form of mentoring. So, Jacob, over to you. You participated in a mentoring scheme by the University of Ghana Career Center, and it was a successful experience. So, can you tell us how it happened and why it worked for you?
Yes, so with my case, I got admission to study physics, mathematics, and computer science. Initially, I didn't really choose that. I wanted to be an engineer like my dad, but then that's the course I was given. So I didn't really know any job prospects. That's after the 4 year, I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. But then the University of Ghana Career, you know, organization came in handy. Their career week exposed us to job opportunities and job prospects after school. So I think that's something that incited me, and also something that excited me. So I had a fair idea of the fact that so doing this course, these are the job prospects that are available for me. So it's not maybe that I'm going to end up in a classroom, but I have the opportunity to do other things in industry, in the government, like
Right. Thank you for that, Jacob. So we've had
complex
experience.
array of mindsets about what I can do with my physics, mathematics, and computer science. Yeah.
Right. Thank you for your experience, Jacob and Faith. And we're going to listen to something slightly different from Sashawaney. So, Sashawaney, you did not think you could attend college, but what did you do and why?
Good morning again. I did not think I could attend college due to the many financial constraints my family was enduring. It was very hard on my mother to see that I grew up in a single parent household. It was extremely hard for her to even find funds for us to go to school or to even put food on the table. However, the little that she could do was to always try motivating us to always try to excel in whatever we tend to do in our schoolwork. And she would always say, I can remember she always telling us that you should always shoot for the stars. If you don't reach the stars, then you will fall between the clouds. And that has always resonated with me. And I was always driven to be more than my circumstances, be able to try and find other opportunities that are out there that I'm able to grasp or I'm able to get or apply for, work for. So I'm able to do or to get a higher education because I did not want that for my life. I wanted more for my life. I did not want to be living in that condition for the rest of my life. I wanted to succeed and I was driven by that passion of succeeding. So what I did, I excel in from primary until college. I excel in all works that I did. I was awarded number of achievements with high grades, etc. And I was very persistent in applying for various scholarships. It was very hectic because there are a lot of persons out there that or who has qualifications are that I do have and are higher than what I have. So it was like a competition in reaching to a scholarship. So, but fortunately, I was able to get the FHI 360 scholarship to attend college.
Right. Your resilience is very encouraging, Sashawaney, and we are so happy for you that you were able to sail through and you made an effort to achieve academic excellence through. That's very impressive, Sashawaney. So now coming back to Faith, can you tell us about how you discovered your career center and your experience reaching out to them to decide between computer science and computer engineering?
So one thing that HSC tries to do is that once you get into the school from freshman year, they always make us aware of the facilities that we can make use on campus. So since I joined the school, I knew that there was an Shesi Career Service. So one thing that made it easy for me to even go and seek help from because of how they are structured. They're very friendly, and I was very free, and it was very open for me to share my fears with them, and that is kind of helped me through because anytime I had any doubt, anytime I had any question as far as my career was concerned, they were ready to help me out.
Right. That's impressive to know. So at what point did you decide to reach out to them concerning the computer science and computer engineering? We just want to find out what were you offered in the beginning and why did you want to switch? What's informed that?
Okay, so um, when I was choosing the courses, when I was applying to the school, um, I was confused about the two right from the beginning. So, and since I knew that if I chose computer science, it would be very hard for me to choose engineering if that was that was what I was actually passionate about. So I decided to start with engineering because I knew if I didn't like engineering, I could easily switch to computer science. So right from my first semester in school, I started asking out questions and everything. And then after finishing my first semester, that is when I actually realized that engineering, I was not really interested in engineering. And from there now they told me to kind of think through carefully and analyze if it was actually what had actually made me realize that that was not what I was interested. So from right after my first semester, they started working with me and they gave me time to actually think about the decision that I wanted to make.
Right, right. So from your submission, Faith, I got two things. One is awareness of the facilities or the opportunities available to us. So it's also essential that as soon as we get into our higher education institutions, as early as level 100, we find out where the support is and how we can utilize them. And another thing you mentioned is how you had to earlier you mentioned how you had to go through your passions, your abilities and your capabilities, and you realized that they weren't really in alignment with computer engineering, so you decided to choose computer science over that. That's nice. Thank you for that, Faith. So now coming back to Jacob, how were you able to make time to attend the mentoring sessions that were organized by your school's career center? Now we are asking this because as a university student, there are lots of things that are happening for you. You have to go to lectures, you have to do assignments and send them in, you need to maintain your social life. But how were you able to make time to attend these mentoring sessions? And it would be good to know what you sacrificed to be able to make time for those as well.
Yeah, Papa. So it's quite interesting. So I wanted to know more about your perspective in my field as a physics and mathematics student. So I wanted to also know what I could actually do with my physics course. I really wanted to know more about the global market, the job market. So I had to restructure my timetable. I had to get periods. Sometimes I had to sacrifice my lectures, actually. I had to sacrifice some lectures to be available for some career fairs because there were amazing individuals that I admire so much who were actually the keynote speakers. And I wanted to hear them talk. I wanted to learn from their wisdom. So in such cases, I had to sacrifice lectures so that I could be around or be at the conference to hear them talk and to learn from their wisdom. So basically, I had to restructure my timetable, time management, and sacrifice. Yeah.
Right. Restructuring your timetable, time management, and sacrifice. And time management specifically, even in the world of work, it comes in handy. So I think it was a very good thing to start as early as college, because I'm sure it's coming in handy as even a physics tutor, as you need to also teach your students time management. Right. Thank you, Jacob. So now back to Sashawaney. How did you come across the scholarship program and how do you think it addressed your unique needs? And what should colleges do for young people to help them? So firstly, we're taking this one after the other. How did you come across your scholarship program, Sashani?
Well, I came across the scholarship program by means of social media. I saw the scholarship and that was during the time that I was applying for various scholarships. But I came across this particular scholarship And I reached out to a friend and I told her about the scholarship, and she told me that she also was benefiting from the scholarship. So she encouraged me to apply for the scholarship. It was to attend College of Agriculture, Science and Education in Portland. She was also attending the same school, and she was advising me of all the benefits that the scholarship entails, and she was motivating me and encouraging me to go forward with this scholarship. So it was when I saw the scholarship, I think it was on a Thursday, and I applied for it. And she told me that I should also apply for the school as well, because I would have a better chance at getting the scholarship versus not applying to a college and still applying for the scholarship. So what I did, I applied for the scholarship, and that weekend I didn't have any money, but she used her last and she paid my fare to go to Portland. It was my first time traveling to Portland, but I took a leap of faith. I went there and I stayed with her for the weekend, and the Monday I went ahead and I applied for the college. And during that moment or during that time, I was waiting for the scholarship or to see if I was approved or not. I was doing other things or trying to seek other avenues of opportunities that I can get my hands at during that time. So that was one of the ways, or that was the way I learned about the scholarship, through the social media and by my friends in also telling me about it or what it actually entails.
Right. So things that stood out for me from your submission, that you applied quickly. So we know there are a couple of us, we see these opportunities, then we wait till the last minute or a day before, and technology can fail us at any time. So it's important we apply quickly for these opportunities. And the next one, your friend was very supportive. That's one thing that also stood out for me, a very supportive friend who, as you mentioned, even helped you and you stayed with her during the weekend to be able to apply for that and seeking other opportunities. So not putting all our eggs in one basket whilst you were waiting for the scholarship and the results, you were still looking for other opportunities. So how did this scholarship, Sashawaney, how did it address your unique need?
Well, it addressed my unique needs in so many ways. For one, given my family being financially constrained to fund my tuition, a lot of other things that they were unable to do, I thought the scholarship was only for funding of the tuition, and I thought that I would have to take into consideration paying rent, boarding, transportation, and meals daily. I did not have the funds to do that. So when I heard about the scholarship, or what the scholarship did, or how it addressed my needs, was that it paid everything in full. I did not have to worry about any meals, any transportation, any boarding. It completed everything. All I needed to focus on was to study and work hard and achieve all that I could. So it was a really great opportunity.
That's nice to know that everything else was sorted and all you had to do was to focus, study, and pass. That's nice to know. So, Sashawaney, from this experience, what should colleges do for young people to help them?
I think I think universities should have more mentorship programs for students. I also think that they should have more scholarship opportunities or provide more scholarship opportunities, internship opportunities for students that are linked to each courses that they do or program of study. Because I found that, or based on my experience, lots of persons who offer job opportunities, they normally, one of the requirements rather is to have experience. The question is, how would I get experience if I'm just leaving college? So with the internship opportunity now, students are now able to get a better chance at landing these jobs and to get a better experience, because sometimes we learn stuff in school, the theory part of the studies in college. But when it comes to how the working world operates or what it entails, not just academics would be able to assist with that. You need like more experience or more would say, openness to the environment of the working world. So I think they should have more stuff like those. And in the mentorship programs, I think that they should have persons in professions or different or various professions who can have Q&As with students, question and answer session with students, giving them an insight as it comes to different career opportunities, what it entails, the advantages, disadvantages. And I think this will also help students to make better choices, because sometimes students go to college and they say they want to do this, but when they hear about something else or they know more about a different career, then they find that they are more intrigued or interested in that particular field versus what they chose before. I think that's my recommendation for the university.
Right. I totally agree with you, Sashawaney. More internship opportunities, more mentorships, and also university or college is a place for young people to discover themselves, their likes, their dislikes, as Faith did, her passions, her abilities, to ensure that they align with the programs that they're doing. So now just quickly asking Faith and Jacob, starting with Faith, what do you think colleges should do to support young people?
First of all, colleges should make their students aware of the facilities that they have that are there to support them. And also just making sure that they expose the students to opportunities that can help them in discovering them, maybe their skills and learning new abilities, just like Sashwini said, that in terms of internships, like organizing something like career fairs where students can get to just grow in terms of their career. I think that is very, very essential.
Right. Very, very essential. So you mentioned making students aware of the facilities and the opportunities available to them to help, and exposure to other opportunities to build up their careers. Now, coming to you, Jacob, what do you believe colleges or universities should help young people?
Great. So I believe colleges and universities should give students the opportunity to experience activities happening in the job market, but have the chance to go into industries, companies, and experience what actually happens on the ground. I feel that will be a way where they can get excited about what is being done, and also it gives them a fair idea of what they should anticipate as they graduate or as they get to finish the courses they are reading. And in the long run, it helps them to carve a career path for themselves. So students should be exposed to stuff happening in the job market, stuff happening in the industries. You know, the university should sponsor these external trips, external projects for the students. Yeah.
Okay, that's nice to know, Jacob. So just want to ask you some questions that are reflective now. So thinking of where you were about 5 years, 4 years, even a year ago, and where you are now. So it's just a quick fire round of questions to all our speakers. So starting with Faith, what advice do you have for students who may find themselves at crossroads of deciding which program of study to pursue? So, I mean, you can put yourself back in the shoes of when you started out, that you were looking for your career center and you went there. So if anyone else finds themselves within that situation or at that crossroad, what advice would you have for them? Hi, Faith. Handing over a virtual mic to you.
Okay. So going back, I mean, I think one of the things that I would say is that I'd maybe be more proactive. That is, try out as many things as possible, because I think in my early on in my career, I was kind of scared of making mistakes. So I would advise other college students to um, just get themselves out there and uh, just be ready to learn, because there's no you learn if you don't put yourself out there.
Okay, so just rehashing what you said, be more proactive, try out new things, Don't be scared of making mistakes. Be ready to learn and put yourself out there. I mean, these are some very great tips that we can use. So to anyone who finds themselves at a crossroad of deciding which career path to take linked to their course of study, Faith's words to you are: be more proactive, try out new things, don't be scared of making mistakes, be ready to learn and put yourself out there. Thank you, Faith. So now coming to you, Jacob, what do you know now that you wished you had known earlier? Now, with this question, I'm interested in asking everybody what you know now that you wish you had known earlier. So, Jacob, what do you know now that you wish you had known earlier? Hi, Jacob.
So I'll say that I should have been more diligent in my academic work while back in school. Then I should have also undertaken a lot of internships and a lot of internships mostly, so that I can get exposed to a lot of opportunities in the job market. And also I should have attended more conferences and more seminars. And I should have also been more sociable. That's something that was not with me. I was not really sociable. I was always indoors, introvert. And
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the ability to make friends. Yeah.
Okay. So from what Jacob has shared, now let's take it this way. So what Jacob knows now that he wish he had known earlier is what you should do now if you find yourself in Jacob's shoes is be more diligent in your academic work, participate in more internships for exposure, attend more conferences and seminars, be more sociable, and be able to make more friends, be more sociable, network, because you never know where you meet anybody else and you never know what sort of support the person would give you. So I mean, I'm coming back to Faith. I'm interested in knowing your response to this question. What do you know now that you wished you had known earlier?
It's okay to make mistakes. I think yeah, because now in the bid to like try to have like a perfect sort of career and everything, I think I kind of limited myself and some of the things that I would have discovered in my first year at the beginning of my career. Because I didn't want to do anything like that would maybe I didn't want to make any mistake, and that kind of limited um, the opportunities that I accessed because I was now waiting for the time that I'll have everything, which is not really something that is feasible. You'll always have to be learning. Yeah.
Right. So Faith says it's okay to make mistakes. And if you're too concerned about having everything figured out, being perfect, you may miss a couple of things that will be coming your way. So there's serendipity, that the things that you find that you're not even looking for. Yeah, so it's okay to make mistakes. Thank you, Faith. So Sashawaney, what do you know now that you wished you had known earlier?
Well, what I know now versus what I wish I knew earlier, I would not be so hard on myself because growing up, I believe that there was just no room for failing. I could not afford to fail. It's just going out there, doing my best, and I should not fail. And whenever there was a chance that I fail at something or things did not go my way, I would always be so hard on myself, be very stressful about it. And it would have always sometimes discouraged me, but I still persist, but it would have sometimes take a strain on me. That's how burdened I was by wanting to succeed, wanting to achieve so much in so little time. I would just be more gentle with myself to understand that with success, the road to success sometimes it means that you will fail at times. It doesn't mean that everything is gonna be all peaches and roses. It takes hard work, a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication, persistence and perseverance. And once you're driven to reach where you want to reach, it may not be the right time that you think it is, but when the time comes or when the right time comes, that is when it will happen. So it's just a moment of when it's your time, it will happen.
Right. That's a lot. Sashani, your story is very inspiring. And you said it's not all peaches and roses. Even if everything were roses, even roses have thorns. So yeah, there's even that. So yeah, she said don't be too hard on yourself because she was hard on herself, and the burden of succeeding, don't let it crush you, and be more gentle with yourself. So how you treat your friends when they make mistakes and they apologize to you because you cherish your friendship with them, you forgive them, you should extend the same grace to yourself as well. And success doesn't mean you would fail, but it means when you fall, you rise again. You keep at it to make sure that everything is well in the end, and persist and persevere. Wow, that's a lot from all three of you. Very inspiring and very, very aspirational, if I should say, because a lot of us are also picking lessons, and these are the things we would go on with moving forward. So now, another round of quick fire. What is your recommendation for other youth who could be in your same situation? So again, a little reflection going back a few years, 4 years, 1 year, 5 years, where you were, and a recommendation that you'd have for other youth. So we have Faith, who used her career center. We have Jacob, who optimized his mentorship opportunities at school. And we have Sashawaney, who used a very unique path to achieve her dreams in the end. So starting from you, Faith, what is your recommendation for other youth who could be in your same situation?
My recommendation would be that, first of all, they should take time when they want to make their career decision, because this is a very crucial decision that will affect their lives. So it's not something that's it's what is going to determine what you're going to be doing. And if you choose a career path that you don't love, it's going to be hard for you to keep on when you get struggles and everything. So my advice would be, first of all, try to take your time before you make your career decision, and try to talk to your peers who are in the same line that you want to pursue, and try to also like take advantage of, maybe you can attend sessions, maybe webinars, you can try searching on the internet. Just take your time. Don't rush through when you're making a career decision.
Right. So Faith saying take your time, because making a career decision is very crucial. Take your time, talk to peers in the same line, speak to your career guidance and counseling staff, take advantage of webinars like this one, sessions, conferences, and research as well. Yes, because taking a career decision is very crucial at this point. Thank you, Faith. How about you, Jacob? What is your recommendation for other youth who could be in your same position or situation? Yeah.
Okay, Akofat. So I'll say that mainly the main purpose of education is to train people to become agents of change wherever they find themselves. So mostly I will advise all young people to choose a career path that gives you the chance to be an agent of change wherever you find yourself. If the career choice will give you the chance to impact lives, to transform lives, I think that's something that you can go for. And mostly also make sure you have the chance to learn from people, learn from like the career and counseling session. It's a great arena where we can learn from. I feel we should not only learn in the classroom, but we should be open up to learn outside the classroom, and choose always a career that gives you the chance to impact the life of other people.
Right, right. Thank you. So you are saying education trains people to be agents of change. So if you're on this call and you're still deliberating which career path to take, Jacob is saying choose a career path where you can impact and transform lives. So if you're looking for a yardstick to measure, that should be one thing you would consider, and also learn from people. So as Faith mentioned, people in your career and counseling, department could also be good people to learn from, your peers, your parents, and mentors as well. Yeah. So again, thank you for that, Jacob. So coming to you now, Sashawaney, what's your recommendation for other young people who could be in your same situation?
Well, my recommendation, or what I would recommend for them, is to not let their circumstances define who they are, for one. And they should also try to take advantage of different opportunities at school, try to be more engaged in various clubs or programs that help with their character building and also with their leadership skills, and to put yourself out there more, not afraid to fail, to be driven about whatever it is they want to do. And with driven passion, anything that you set out to do, it is possible. It is possible to reach it.
Right. Thank you, Sashawaney. So do not let your circumstances define who you are. Be engaged in different opportunities that help shape your character and your leadership skills. Put yourself out there and don't be afraid to fail, and be passionate about what you do. So before we round up, I would like to go again across the room, handing over our virtual mics to each and every one of you, just to share a point of your time in university where you were most proud of yourself. So as we are rounding up, just quickly, at what point were you so proud of yourself? So you said, Jacob, you have done well, you deserve some accolades. At what point in your life, whilst you were within college, for Jacob and Sashawaney who've completed, and for Faith who is still in college, at what point have you been so proud of yourself? Yes, before we round up this session. Okay, so Sashawaney, you can start.
Okay, so I was proud of myself, or a moment I was proud of myself in college was, throughout my time or my tenure at college, I've always maintained a high GPA. I've always aced all majority of my courses. I've never gotten a grade below a B. And when I graduated, or when I left college, I received a achievement for graduating for a top academic performer for my graduating class. I was proud of myself because I was like, yes, you did it.
Yes.
You came back where I'm coming from, versus no, I did not think it was even possible for someone in my situation to be able to get an opportunity to go to college, because growing up, that was one of my biggest aspirations. And I was able to do that. I was able to make my family proud, seeing the joy it brings to them, knowing that I was able to go out there, put myself out there, apply for a scholarship that I was able to get. And it helped me to go through college debt-free, not having anything to pay back. It was an amazing opportunity, and I am very thankful for it, and it has helped me tremendously. I was so proud of you.
Right. Well, we're also so proud of you too, Sashawaney. All right, and well done for that. So, Jacob, how about you? At what point were you most proud of yourself? Hi, Jacob. Or should we take our virtual? Okay, Jacob is here now.
Okay, also I remember in the final year at the university, I was the president of a science organization called African Technology Forum, and we went to Ashasa University for a science fair. So like that was the first time I was leading a group of young intelligent science students to such a international science competition. So we were like, we know Sasha has a high reputation when it comes to science and technology. So we wanted to do something to meet up with them. But then at the end of the whole science fair, University of Ghana came out as the winners, and I thought that was one of the greatest moments in my life. And it inspired the younger people behind me to also believe in the fact that they can also do the same. So I would say that was something I could never forget, and I'm so proud of it. And yeah,
Well,
it was an exciting moment at that time. Yeah.
Right. We're also proud of you, Jacob, and well done for that, leading your team to win that um award. Okay, so now Faith, at what point have you been most proud of yourself?
I think the point that after making a decision on my career and choosing my career path, I think when I decided to take on now opportunities that were coming my way, even if I was not like sure about my qualifications, and even if I was not sure about how I was going to do it, I think that is the moment that I actually discovered the magic of just me being able to discover my potential. I think um, the first time that I actually took up an opportunity, even though I did not have all the requirements, was when I signed up for an hackathon. And at that point, I wasn't really proficient in terms of programming. But then I joined up with a team of people who are awesome programmers, and I shared the skills, the minimal skills that I could share with them. And my team was the third. So it was quite an amazing experience for me to discover that even though I may not be at that perfect place or have everything as I had wanted before, at least I could make use of the little skills that I had gained and accumulated over time.
Wow, we're proud of you, Faith, and well done for that. Okay, so now Yolande, asking our participants asking any questions in the chat for our guests.
Yes, yeah, this is a wonderful conversation. So there's one question that the chat is a little slow today, but I have a question for Faith and Jacob and Sashawaney and anyone else who wants to chime in. So the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, is doing a lot of work to promote higher education and to do the best we can to help youth like you access higher education services. And it's not easy. We do our best, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't work. In Sashawaney's case, it was USAID that funded a program that FHI 360 implemented, and through social media and a lot of other circumstances, Sashawaney was able to, to get to these services. But I'd like to hear from you, just very briefly, what would you tell donors like USAID or FHI 360 or all these people who trying their best to come up with programs to help you and work with governments to make this happen? Just, do you have advice for donors? You talked about the career centers, you talked about the hackathons, you talked about the science fairs, you talked about, what else can we do, as donors and project managers to help? Do you have any thoughts on that? We're trying to learn. Like if you could walk into a USAID or a United Kingdom government office that says, we want to help with higher education, what would you tell them? This is what you should do. What would you say?
Well, can I try this, Yolande?
Yeah, of course, please.
Okay, so I think the support should transcend one stage of our lives. So if you're providing the support to, say, in higher education students for the 4 years of their time as undergraduate students, when they're done, what's next? Because sometimes it feels like after they're done, sometimes it feels like after they're done, they are left to themselves. There's no other support available. So how do you track them and ensure that your investment, if I should put it, in their lives in university, it has a more substantial impact even beyond university? So I mean, sometimes we just do things one-off and then that's it. But how that the impact we are making in their lives transcend their time in university or in college? Yeah, that's what I can think of, yeah, that's a message to the donors.
Thank you. Absolutely. Yes. And we need to learn from each other. Any other advice you would have? If anyone prefers to respond in the chat, please go ahead. Also, Sashawaney, you're a recipient of the FHI 360 and USAID funded program. So if you were to walk into an FHI 360 office or USAID office, what would you tell them other than thank you? What can what can be done to help more?
My recommendation, or what I think can help, is for donors to follow up with students. If they do provide scholarship opportunities or funding for students, not just forget about them or leave them to afterward, but to keep up with them, or to check on them, to help them to transition in the world of work. Because after college, then we look forward to the working world, to help or to guide them as it relates to presenting other opportunities, or even informing them as it relates to what next step to take, what do you plan on doing after this. Just those are following up with them, basically, so they're able to transition in the world of work and to assist them with that. Because if they try 360, which is funded by the USAID, has also followed up with me, which I greatly appreciate. And because of this, it allowed me to gain an internship opportunity. And they were constantly sending out other places that was hiring in the particular field that my particular career study path. And I was able to get an internship. And after the internship, I interned for 8 months. And afterwards, I was able to get the job. So I think that follow-up will be an ideal opportunity.
That's excellent. Yes, thank you. And I know my USAID colleagues here are listening to you. So thank you. This is great. It's not easy to do because it's a long-term thing. I'm glad that FHI USAID in Jamaica could help, but it needs to be scaled up as an approach. Thank you so much, Sashawaney. All right. I think so. This is great. I think we can move on. We've got just a few minutes left. We'd like to know from all of you here. Here we go. So do you see this poll here? We want to do more. We want to do more with you. We want to do. We want to hear from you more. So, do you belong to learning communities? Please, if you do. Oh, thank you, Faith. If you do belong to more communities, please put them in the chat. Tell us, tell us if we can work with them and bring them into this community of practice. So there's a poll that is being shared right now. Don't hesitate to fill it up. All right. Next slide. So this is how we share our knowledge and all the wisdom that Sashawaney, Jacob, and Faith gave us. We connect through youthpower.org. And youthpower.org gives us all these entry points into research, findings about how youth can develop their future, their present. We have several communities of practice that focus on business, entrepreneurship, private sector engagement. We have one that looks at gender issues. We have one focused on the Middle East. We have one focused on the systems that help youth bloom, basically. So there's a lot happening on that platform. Please use it. Please just share it with your friends, your networks, your higher education networks as well. Connect through the pages on the community of practice. So now that we've heard from Sashawaney and Jacob and Faith and learn from all these wisdom and recommendations. We're going to do more of this. Look at what we're doing right now with the Learning Network. You can see what we're going to do in March. There's a lot happening in April. Please sign up on Youth Power, tell your friends, look at what we're doing in all these other countries. Learn more about this. Thank you. So next, just to let you know, we will meet again in April, in May, in June. We will keep going. Please tell your friends. Thank you so much, Jacob and Sashawaney and Faith, for sharing your experience. We will feature you and your experience on blogs that we will share widely. We will also keep up with you, as you told us to. Please send us your feedback. Thank you, Akorfa, and welcome, Akorfa. What a fabulous youth champion we have here. So have a great rest of the month. Spring started here yesterday. It's a time of renewal and hope. And you are a real legacy for us, for more hope and a great future for youth and accessing higher education services. Thank you again. Have a great rest of the day and week, and we'll follow up with you. Take good care. Bye. Bye.